Welcome to the Wisdom Circle. To subscribe or follow us on your favorite podcast platforms, please visit us at www.thewisdomcircle.com.
The idea of putting the iPhone in front of you and the whole way you wound up with that viral moment where you were so passionate you were crying on the air, and you showed a side of an announcer, and you showed the difference between soccer and every other sport. Could you talk a little bit about that moment, because it was so special?
Sure.
Who knows if it'll ever come back again?
Obviously, I try to be relevant in today's age, and I have all my social media channels up and going, obviously. But honest to God, the reason I had my phone in front of me and wanted to capture the moment is to have it for eternity on my phone. Obviously, I thought about if this happens, I'll post it. But really, the intention for me was to capture the moment with my phone, because one thing is having the GoPro that I had from Telemundo, which I had to ask somebody to get me. I just had my phone there and I clicked it every time something happened, and obviously in the penalty shootout I had it on all the time. And then in the first break, I posted it right away because I believe in the thing in immediacy in this social media world. Not like Tony was saying, I'll post it 2 weeks, like the guy that said, call me in 2 weeks. No, I posted it right away in the commercial break. And next time I looked at my phone, it was first exploded with messages of people congratulating me for Argentina, for my goal. And then I look at my social media, and it was just absolutely crazy. In 1994, just to compare the times and how things evolved so quickly, I was very, very lucky to have a lot of press. I mean, I went twice to the David Letterman show, all the major newspapers and many, many other TV. ABC, which had the rights back then, came down to Miami to do a feature story on my style, even though we were technically a competitor of theirs during the World Cup, et cetera, et cetera. But this happened, they came, wrote it, published it, it happened 2-3 days later. I went to Letterman when, the first off day was, and here in 15 minutes, I had, 300,000 people that had viewed my video all over the world. It ended up, I believe, within the next morning with 2.5 million views on my Instagram page that doesn't have that many followers. And it's like, if I can tell you a funny story about that, how viral, obviously I understand the Hispanic American population, but I have two anecdotes about being viral and it's crazy. I'm at the Women's World Cup in New Zealand. I arrive in, I don't know what city, the car picks me up. I'm in the back seat. The guy asked me, are you here for the soccer? I said, yes, I'm here for the soccer. Where are you from? I'm from Argentina. Where are you from? Because I'm from Iraq. I think it doesn't matter. And when I say Argentina, the driver says, oh, do you know that announcer that when Argentina won the World Cup started crying, was so emotional and so good? So while he's talking, I'm looking for the video on my phone, and I hand him the phone. No, first I started playing with him while I was looking. Did he have round glasses? Yeah. I think he had glasses. But he was holding on to another man. I had Borghi, one of the two color commentators, Manolo Sol, my partner in crime, obviously by my side also. But I was pulling on. I didn't know what to do. So I hand him the phone and I say, "Is this the guy?" And the guy goes, oh my God, veers off, stops on the shoulder. And I said, I know we're going to get to the hotel, but I need to have a selfie with you to tell all my friends, all my friends in wherever his country was, have your video. So we get off the car, I take a selfie with a guy in Melbourne, Australia. I think that's a matter where somewhere, or New Zealand. I don't know where it was. I said, this is like, whoa, crazy. And then this summer at the Olympics, uh, in the press booth or in the press holding area, I guess, the cafeteria, I see this lady coming on to me. And she had heard me speaking in French with somebody and speaks in French to me. And I said, well, I don't know, I crossed the line that I shouldn't. I don't know what does this lady want? He comes up to me in French, I don't know what position he had, says, we will let you go into the press stand with only one condition, in French. And I say, oui, qu'est-ce que c'est? And she starts yelling, there you go or you cry. I say, whoa, okay, enchanté, nice meeting. I think she was like the head venue officer or something. That, it's what today's world is. It's really truly incredible.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great story. I want to put a little context on that for those who, Andres, I'm assuming it's available, well, certainly on your Instagram account.
Yeah.
Is it on YouTube?
No, I don't think it's on YouTube. No, I think it's, yeah.
Go
I
look up Andres Cantor online and start following him, and anybody who's listening, and you'll see one of the most outrageously beautiful moments in sport history. It is when.
But I'm sorry, Ray.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt because I didn't
Please.
answer. I got involved in the anecdote and I didn't answer Tony's question. Al Michaels in the 1980 Do You Believe in Miracles? That was like a Cinderella underdog story, and he got emotional as well in a different way. You know, for me, the Argentinian national team, every time it plays, it's to me it's dear to my heart because I mean, my life is football. My life is soccer. I have my team, which is Boca Juniors. I have my national team, my country, which is Argentina, and I have my second national team, which is obviously the U.S. men's and women's national team because they're dear to my heart because I've lived here most of my life. So the difference between his call, Al Michaels' call, and mine, I guess he didn't get to cry, but in a sense he did because it was, something so unpredictable before the hockey tournament started. This wasn't as unpredictable because Argentina was, on a run, but the game was the game itself was a roller coaster of emotions. 2-0, 50 minutes away from the end. France tied. Argentina goes back on top. France ties. Penalty shootout. I was like, get me out, get me an IV because I was done after that day.
Yeah. It's funny because when Tony and I were talking earlier, we talked about the two comparisons would be Al Michaels and your call at the end of the World Cup. We actually talked about it before we came on to the podcast. But I think the fact that it culminated Messi's career with a win in the World Cup, that Mbappe had won one already at 23 years old, and all the passion that you would have was captured, and so it was quite a moment. So I want to make sure that our listeners could find it, if they wanted to see it, because it's special. It's really special. It was just a beautiful moment. Tony.
I assume you've been asked to do this 1,000 times. I don't know if you've done it, where universities, Syracuse, USC, Fordham has a great broadcasting communication program. Do you go into the classroom from time to time to students and advise them to some degree? And if you do, what's sort of your message if they want to be a top broadcaster?
I have. I've been invited by not 1,000, but a couple of universities, and at one given point, USC also I think was trying to get me in, but they're so far out that my schedule it's kind of crazy. And the advice that I give the kids is first to have a lot of passion on whatever job they get. Without passion, any job that you do is, I mean, with passion, it's much more easier and it's much more enjoyable. If it's just a job, 9 to 5, click out, eh, you know, I think it's a key component to success is, believing in yourself, having passion to work either for yourself or for the company that is hiring you, in whatever capacity that they will be hired. And I also tell them about preparation because kids, I find, I don't want to generalize, but I've seen, how everything has evolved nowadays, and everyone that has a phone thinks that they're a journalist major, and everything is so easy. I mean, there are so many more resources available to them uh, in the palm of their hands that I always say, prepare yourself the best way. You have the resources, go and spend, if you can, go and spend an extra time, go to the press conferences and listen to the coaches, ask a question, try to talk as many stakeholders in the game that you will be covering, being baseball, football, American football, tennis, whatever. There's never a dumb question. Feed off what they're saying, observe, and put a lot of passion and knowledge. Obviously, you get to know the game, because I think it's very important. It's what will set you apart from the rest, especially, and I don't want to sound like an old grumpy old man here, especially in today's world where there has been, even in the sporting news media, a new style that has lost the journalism 101 rules, the 7 commandments of journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Opinion, fact checked, double check. Now anyone with a microphone or a camera on will say anything. Sometimes they're held accountable for, and if not, it's just part of the show at the discussion.
Yep.
Ray Warren bought that shirt on Walmart for $1.99. Says who? Who is your source? Who is your source? So I just said Ray Warren on national television is a cheap man that buys his shirt. It doesn't have to be, obviously, because I buy, I buy things online for $3.99 as well. So,
No
but
apology here.
but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
Like everyone will
it
go on
becomes
TV or radio, and
it's a
it
rush.
becomes
It's a rush to be first. It's a rush to be first. Forget the facts. Just get it out there before the next guy does.
Yeah.
That is fantastic help. And I think a great question Tony asked about our younger generation of audience about, and really what you said about writing is true about life, right? Prepare, be passionate, fact check, all the things and spend interpersonal time with people. Don't think you're getting it all done just by texting and or going to Wikipedia. But we've got about 10 minutes left. And so I want to talk about a bunch of things. So I'll go in order because one's global, which is soccer. It's not global, but it is soccer in the U.S. And we have a new U.S. coach we can talk about, and we can talk about 26. But in general, what's your current feeling about any improvement and or change in the status of soccer in the U.S. and the things that you would do if you could wave a magic wand and bring it up a couple of places in the minds and hearts of Americans?
Sure. This is a question that I've been asked since I started my career, actually, and especially after 1994, when I became pretty much a staple of the game. And reference point, this question was asked. Now more than ever, I can safely say, and this I think it's the wrong view that the media have on soccer. I strongly believe soccer doesn't need to compete, doesn't need to enter into this competition. Are we going to be as big as the NBA? No, never. As we're going to be, as we Are we going to be as big as the NFL? No, never. Are we going to command $4 billion of broadcasting rights? Maybe, hopefully. I probably won't be around. But we don't need to be. Soccer's uh, fans all over the United States, now more than ever, with the amount of immigration, acculturation, uh, different generations that are playing, the younger generations that are playing, we have it's not a niche. We have our place. Soccer has its place, and its foundation is very well cemented. The MLS is doing a terrific job in growing their business. We will have 30 teams next year.
Yeah.
They signed a worldwide deal to showcase the league of this country around the world with Apple TV.
Right.
The U.S. national team has players playing in Europe. Hopefully, they will have a good showing in 2026. And in the American mindset, I hope as 1994 did open the doors for the MLS to exist, and the women's soccer league did the same. I mean, the 1999, the 99ers, as they were called, that won the World Cup at the Rose Bowl, you know, pretty much paved the way to what women's American soccer is now, as did the guys in 1994 for the men. I have no doubt in my mind, Ray and Tony, that 2026 will be a transforming event. First of all, because it will be more games than ever. So you will have 39 days of 10 hours a day on television of soccer games. You will have 48 countries represented. So all the people that watched from the other side of the fence, the Guatemala, let's say Guatemala qualifies. You will have the Guatemalan community here, or whatever, the African nation that never qualified. This will be huge. I mean, I obviously I'm kind of biased, but I know that there will be a before and after 2026. It will be the greatest thing, and that will position the MLS and the U.S. national team in a better place. Will they be able to, get traction? Hopefully. But we don't need to think we want to be as big as the NBA. Obviously, we want to be as big as the NBA. But we have our own space, and it's good. It's getting better year by year. So I think that's the mindset that soccer and soccer business people should have.
I love that idea. I really do. I think, so that's the U.S. with me, maybe, and others, the U.S. nature of, we talk about vertical and horizontal, how old generations are more vertical, getting to the top of the organization. Today, kids are taking care of each other, and they care more, and they've been through so much together that it's more horizontal. And I wonder about, that's a great platform. And I'd like to hear Don Garber talk about that more, because I think that just gives it a much stronger feeling to me. Like, rather than just, we're expanding and we're getting a deal with Apple and la, la, la. It still sounds like the track is to climb the mountain, as opposed to, we're pretty good and we've got our place, and we're not fighting for customers. And by the way, as the global sport, and I learned that pretty quickly, there's no number two sport anywhere else in the world. No matter how hard the NFL tries, no matter how hard the NBA tries, there is no number two sport. Maybe boxing, but there's no number two sport. Tony, you want to jump on that before?
I just to underline it. I think it's like any brand building, and Ray knows I sort of come at this a lot. It's sort of build a foundation, and I'll use an Anheuser-Busch analogy. Michelob Ultra was started by August Busch III. He was actually he was the CEO of the company and became the brand manager because he felt baby boomers would stop drinking beer that was heavy, high calorie, and even a little bit higher alcohol. And he came up with Michelob Ultra, and which was lifestyle, low carbs, low calorie, low alcohol. That brand today, which went step by step, is pretty close to being the number one brand at Anheuser-Busch, right? But it did start out to be the number one brand at Anheuser-Busch. It started out to meet a niche of consumers that they then found had an appeal to a broader group of consumer base. And I watched it in sports from the original USFL, which was doing numbers in the summer higher than baseball, but then tried to be the NFL, and we all saw what happened. So I agree with you so much there, as Ray does as well. The other thing I believe in sports, and I don't think USA Soccer women have been more successful with this, is I think in the U.S. we tend to follow stars. We don't really have our Messi and Beckham, Pape, and whatever. We have those have tried to be that, but we really don't have that verbiage out there that says, I have to go see fill in the blank. I need, in other sports, I need to go see Ohtani play. Yes, it's the Dodgers, but I really want to go see Ohtani play. And that's what's sort of missing in the sport in the U.S., certainly with the national team, where we've had it with women, with Mia Hamm, and on and on and on. I showed you on my head.
Messi
I
is
go back to 1995.
yeah, Messi. But you're missing one guy who's really like filling seats all over the country is Lionel Messi playing for Inter Miami.
Yeah,
That's the one spot.
yes, but that's not a homegrown U.S.
No, I agree. I'm just
But
saying
it proves
they've done a good job
the
with that.
point
Yeah.
that people are going to go see Messi because of who he is. We don't have that, and I think until we have that, it's just a piece missing. It's just a piece.
Yeah, I agree. I think, first of all, that big star has to earn his way up to the top and to notoriety by his, playing in the field. The U.S. has its captain, Christian Pulisic,
Yeah.
who now is having a very, very good season in Milan of Italy, who, could be that. Unfortunately, this is my point of view. I don't want to say something. I barely met him a couple of times very briefly. He's not Magic Johnson. He doesn't have that, personality that will capture marketers. He was featured in some commercials now during the last Copa America. But, he's a very, very good player. And I think they should build on his persona and, hopefully if he keeps playing well. Soccer is such a changing sport that you can have a good season now, and next year, he doesn't play that often, and everyone forgets about it. The good thing, Tony and Ray, is that before, if a player, American player or any other player, went to play on a foreign league, if the country where you live didn't carry those games, you never found out until the morning newspaper how he did, or you couldn't see the games. Nowadays, every single league around the world is available on streaming, on any streaming platform. If I want to watch the Turkish league, I'll watch the Turkish league. So I can watch Christian Pulisic play every Sunday. But then there has to be a better, from a marketing. I know the U.S. Federation is kind of in a position where, hey, we're a soccer federation, we're not marketers, but this guy, I think he's a very, very good player and should be like the face of the team come 2026. Let me add a business note to why Michelob Ultra is the second most valuable beer in the world right now, or most sellable.
Right.
It's because they hired Messi to do that commercial
true.
around Super Bowl.
That's
He
true.
made
That's true.
And I always have to be critical a little bit of somebody on our podcast, and I know we're at time. Is you I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you heard about the Soccer Federation, and they're not marketers. I think we've let the leadership of U.S. soccer in the U.S., well, that's obvious, off the hook a little bit. As we haven't developed the sport, no one ever has looked to management as they would a company to say, okay, what are you doing to help some of this other than hope a new coach is going to be the next Messiah? So I at times, you know, want to push that envelope a little bit, and I'm wondering, where their accountability is. So I won't get too controversial,
Yeah,
but I do think the
they have a different.
accountability sometimes is missing there.
Yeah, they have a different way than say the MLS. But I'll just close out with my thought, then we'll ask Congress to close us up, which is when Messi leaves Inter Miami, they just need to bring Pulisic over and put him on Inter Miami, because what we need is a U.S. team that has a world-class soccer player. Before he's 37, Messi could play till he's 50 and he'll still draw a crowd. But you know the Moss brothers, Andres. You can give him a call. Tell him Ray Warren sent you in his $1.99 shirt from Walmart.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Any final thoughts? I wanted to talk a little bit about your Snoop interview, but we try to keep a close eye on the clock a little bit, keep our audience engaged. Anything about communications and Andres Cantor and going forward? How's it looking for you over the next couple of years? You got the World Cup.
I think it's. I'm obviously with the World Cup in 2026. The FIFA Club World Cup next year. All the leagues around the world. The Premier League that is so prominent now in the US. I think I'm in a good place. I
Right.
also, talking about communications, I feel privileged in today's age that I'm pretty sure I don't get everyone's attention for 90 minutes. But earlier I said that people say that, or social media outlets say that 45 seconds is too long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of anybody's attention. And I feel privileged to be in a seat where, the game is 90 minutes. And I don't know how much of those 90 minutes attention I get from people, but I'm pretty sure that it's more than 45 seconds. So I feel I'm in a good place in terms of communication, and I will do my best to communicate my passion, my knowledge of the game, my storytelling of anything relevant to the broadcast. Like you said, Tony, people are watching the game. They can tell that the ball is moving from left to right and vice versa. So I need to enhance more than ever nowadays. Not only that, because I have to be mindful of what is being said during the week about a player, because before, if I didn't say it, on a Sunday's game, nobody had heard about what happened to that guy's life from the last game to the next.
Right.
Nowadays, with the social media amplifying the training grounds, the private lives, etc., everyone knows what has happened to the start of each team. So I have to be mindful of that, collaborate, my information about it, do life story interventions whenever I can. So, soccer, I think it's in a very, very good place in this country. And hopefully 2026 will take it to the next level.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, thank you for being here. I can kind of feel like we just cracked it open today. So I would like, and I'm pretty sure Tony agrees, we'd love to have you back between now and the first kick on the field in 2026. But sometime
Anytime.
in 25, we'd love to have you back and catch up some more, because I just feel like we have a lot more, not just soccer, just life and business and organization and communication. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Andres.
We look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you again.
Thank you, Ray and Tony. It was a pleasure seeing you both. And thank you, Ray, for having me on. And we miss you, man.
Buona suerte.